Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Otis and Gabe Show. I am Otis, and I'm back here with my picks 11 through 20 on my mock draft, my latest mock draft. So today, we're gonna go through. I'm gonna go through the picks, give you my thoughts. You might not like the picks. Sorry, it's how I feel. What the teams are gonna do, and how they're gonna draft. So first at 11 is the Jets, and the Jets. It's an interesting situation because I feel like the Jets can go multiple places with their pick. They have flexibility, and so with the flexibility, I feel like they're going to draft Jerry Jeudy, the receiver out of Alabama. He is such a good receiver. And they have Sam Darnold. They need weapons, and I think he's the guy. Jerry Jeudy ran a 4.4 40. He had a 35-inch vert. He's one of the best route runners, probably the best route runner in the draft. He's really good at running routes, and he can make plays. And I think that's what Sam Darnold needs. Sam Darnold needs a playmaker. They just lost Robbie Anderson to free agency. They need a playmaker, and I feel like Jerry Jeudy will get it done for the Jets. The Raiders here at number 12, I got them taking CeeDee Lamb. This is one of their two first-round draft choices. I have them taking CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, I feel like, is a perfect fit for John Gruden. He's very flexible. He can play virtually all three wide receiver positions. He ran a 4.5 40. I mean, he has a 34.5-inch vert, a 10 foot broad jump. I mean, he's very shifty. We saw what he can do at Oklahoma. He made plays. He was 6'2". They measured him in at 6'2", 198. So he's light, but he can move and he can make plays. He runs very good routes and he makes plays. And I feel like John Gruden needs that guy. Now they have other receivers, but I feel like John Gruden needs this guy. He needs CeeDee Lamb. He may not be there. He may be there, depending on what the Jets do. Both receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, might be there for them. Or they may go a different direction, but I think they're going to go receiver with this first pick at number 12. Now, number 13. 13 was originally the Colts pick. The Colts traded this pick for DeForest Buckner, which for me is a phenomenal trade, and you'll hear more about that on a later episode on free agency and my thoughts. But the 49ers, sitting here with one of two first round draft choices, I think they're going to take Javon Kinlaw. I think they need an interior defensive lineman, and I feel like Javon Kinlaw is really good. I mean, he's 6'5", he's 324. He's a little heavy, but he's probably the eventual replacement for DeForest Buckner. And I went back and watched him. He played virtually anywhere on that defensive line for South Carolina, and he created pressure, and that's what San Francisco did last year. And I know they're wanting to do that again, and I know they're wanting to get back to the Super Bowl. And so I think creating pressure on the defense is one way of doing that, and Javon Kinlaw certainly does that. And number 14, Tampa. Tampa, obviously they have Brady. They really, most would say they need to protect Brady. They do. Brady's not mobile. He's not going to move. But I have them taking DeAndre Swift. We saw what Georgia running backs do with Tom Brady. Sony Michel was a great weapon for Tom Brady in New England. And I think DeAndre Swift out of Georgia is a perfect running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers really haven't had a solid running back in a while, and I think this pick is either going to be a running back or I think it can be an offensive lineman. But I'm really sure they're going to take DeAndre Swift. They listed him at 5'8", 212. He ran a 4.48, 35.5-inch vertical. He really is he's a great athlete. He makes plays. He runs with speed and power, and he's probably year one, probably a third down back, but really he's going to be I believe he'll be the starter in Tampa. And he brings something that not a lot of backs can bring, and that's a good pass catching ability out of the backfield, which we saw a lot with Brady in New England as far as using the checkdowns as a weapon and just using the running backs as a weapon with what they had in New England in Rex Burkhead, and when they had Dion Lewis and other guys like that. They had Sony Michel. All those guys made plays for them, and I think DeAndre Swift will do just that in Bruce Arians' offense. 15 are the Broncos. Broncos know their starting quarterback. They know Drew Lock is for right now the answer at starting at the quarterback position. So I think they need help him, and so I think they're going to take the fastest receiver in this draft, and they're going to take Henry Ruggs, because Henry Ruggs gives them the vertical deep threat that they need. And Henry Ruggs, 5'11", 188, ran that crazy 4.27 40. He can fly. He can fly. And Drew Lock he'll be a great weapon for Drew Lock. And I think the Broncos are getting better. They're improving, and I think one way of improving is by giving your young quarterback, good weapons. And I think Henry Ruggs will do that. Number 16, my team, I really think they're going to take corner. I think corner or linebacker or pass rusher is what they need. I have them taking C.J. Henderson. I think C.J. Henderson is definitely the second best corner in this draft. I think they might honestly have to trade up for him. They might not, depending on how the draft goes. But I do think C.J. Henderson is the pick for Atlanta. He ran a 4.39 40. He had 20 reps on the bench press, which is really good for a corner. He had a 37.5-inch vert. Atlanta needs a corner. They need a corner. They're playing in a division where they're going to play Tom Brady twice a year and Drew Brees twice a year. So I think corner is the way to go. They have him listed at 6'1", 204. So C.J. Henderson, he's a bigger corner. He's going to be physical, and the tape that I've seen on him, he's aggressive and he's physical, and that's what Atlanta needs, is a true number one corner, and I think he can be the true number one corner for Atlanta. 17, the Cowboys. They lost Byron Jones. Well, they lost Byron Jones, but they let him go, and they didn't re-sign him. So I think they're going to go in the secondary, and they're going to take Xavier McKinney. They need help. Obviously, they need help in the secondary now that they've lost Byron Jones, who's arguably is a top 20 corner in the league. He's a very good corner in this league. And so I think Xavier McKinney will help that secondary as a rookie, and I think he can contribute. He's 6 foot 200, ran a 4.6, but what I've read, that 4.6 is slower than he actually is. We didn't get to see his pro day because of the pandemic, but I think he's someone that the Cowboys need. Now the Cowboys are another team that either are going to take someone in the secondary like McKinney, or they're going to take a defensive lineman or a pass rusher, which could be helpful for them. But I do think Xavier McKinney is the answer at the secondary position for the Cowboys. The Dolphins at 18. This is the second first-round pick that the Dolphins have. They have the second of 3. And at 18, I think they're going to go corner. Now, most of you will say, why are you saying they need a corner? You know, they just went out and got Byron Jones. You know, he's the highest paid corner in the league now. But I still think I think Miami, you know, they still need a corner, and that's why I think they're going to take AJ Terrell. I think he's a good fit. He can learn behind 2 really good corners in Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. He's 6'1", 195, ran a 4.45. He's got good speed. He plays aggressive. And I think he's going to be someone he's going to be someone where they're going to find somewhere on the field to play him in the secondary, and he's going to contribute. And I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again multiple times in probably my free agent video and in this video. I really think Miami is on the up. They're up. They're on the up slope. They're getting better. They had a really good free agent class, and I think they're going to shock a lot of people next year. Now, if they can figure out the quarterback position, which if you listen to my picks 1 to 10, I have them taking Tua at 5 without having to move up. Now, they might have to move up, but they might not. So that's something we'll have to see. But I do think they'll go corner, and I think they'll go AJ Terrell. The Raiders, this is their second first-round pick. Raiders are going to take a linebacker. This guy's a true middle linebacker. He's Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. He ran a 4.5 40, 21 reps on the bench, 38-inch vert. He's a physical dude, and he's got a lot of speed. And when he's blitzing through the A-gap, if you saw him in college, in Oklahoma, when he's blitzing through the A-gap, it's trouble. It's trouble. And he is a tackle for loss machine. He creates a lot of tackles for loss because of his speed and his ability, his lateral quickness, and his ability to contain running backs in the backfield and create pressure on quarterbacks. And they had him listed at 6'2", 241. I think that's a good weight, and I think also he's going to play for John Gruden, who I think that he's someone that John Gruden would love to have. And I think they're gonna if they get him, they're not gonna be disappointed because he's a very good linebacker. He's one of the best linebackers in this draft, and they're gonna get a lot of productivity out of him year one. And pick number 20, this is the Jaguars' second first-round pick. The Jaguars are one of many teams who have multiple first-round picks in this year's draft, and this pick's from the Rams when they traded away Jalen Ramsey. And so I think they're going to find the eventual replacement. Now, remember, they also traded away A.J. Bouye, who was a good corner. I am still shocked that they traded him, but I think Trevon Diggs is the guy who can come in and play corner for them, and he will start. He's a day one starter. He's got good height, weight, and length to play corner. He's heavy jammer. When he jams guys at the line of scrimmage, he lets them know, I'm here to play. He's a shutdown guy. He's 6'1", 205, so he's like I said, like C.J. Henderson. He's a bigger dude who can play physical against bigger receivers, and I think the Jaguars are going to take him to help their secondary, as I believe the Jaguars are rebuilding. So I believe he is going to be a good piece to that rebuild. The Eagles at 21. Eagles, they need a wide receiver. If you watched any of their games this year, you could tell right away they had hardly any depth at the wide receiver position because of injuries. So I think Justin Jefferson is a really good fit for the Eagles. He was very productive this year. Had over 1,000 yards receiving for LSU. He's 6'1", 202. He ran a 4.43. He's got great speed, great get off, and he's got really strong hands. And I think Carson Wentz is going to love having him as a weapon, along with the other weapons that they could have potentially. Maybe they draft another guy, but they are going to go. They're going to go Justin Jefferson, I think, because the receiver is in need. Another need is corner, but I do think they can pick up a corner in the second round, later in the draft, maybe the second round, maybe the third round. So I think Justin Jefferson is the pick. 2022. I'm gonna say it's Buffalo, and I think this will be my last pick. 22. I think Buffalo is gonna take T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins is he's one of the biggest receivers in this draft. He's 6'4", 216. He really plays to his size, and so that will help him in this league. And I think he's a guy who can go up and get the 50-50 ball in the red zone. He's a tall receiver. He's physical, and he's someone. Even though Buffalo has Stephon Diggs, I still feel like they need to upgrade their weapons for their quarterback. And so I think T. Higgins is the guy. So those are my picks. I actually went over one pick, but those are my picks from 11 to 22. And so that's where I'm going to stop today. But be on the lookout because I will come out with picks from 23 to the end of the draft to 32. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.